G'day, guys. So, I'm about 60% healed. We're going to take it easy on the talking to try and make my voice survive, and if we're lucky, we'll make it through 90 minutes. But it's going to be a little bit hit and miss because, yeah, I haven't been live for about 3 days now, doing any painting whatsoever. For the last 48 hours, I've had one of the worst flus of my life. Hands down, one of the worst flus. So, I think today is the first day I've sort of noticed we're on the road to recovery. Hopefully, we go up from here. Hopefully. But look, guys, it's all just guessing at the moment. But jeepers creepers, I'll tell you this without a word of a lie. I have never been hit with a flu as rough as this one. Never, ever, ever. Alright. So, anyway, today we're back working on Atlas. Now, it's been a while since I've had this picture up. And there was a period where I thought, I won't need to touch it again. It's in the right spot. But, funnily enough, now I want to touch it. I want to have a proper play. I think one of the hardest things I felt with it was that combination of yellow and purple. It never quite sat with me. I never fully thought we actually nailed it. And hey, how we doing? All aboot and Cindy, welcome on in, guys, and Feel. New camera. It's on the Samsung rather than the iPhone, but it shouldn't be. What changed? Out of interest. Because I have always wondered which one's got a better front-facing camera. And I follow you also on TW. Help me out here. What's TW? And this is from Greek mythology. So this is, if you know your Greek mythology, this is one of the giants. This particular one's called Atlas. So Atlas is known for holding up the sky. Sky or universe? Here we go. Yes, I noticed the difference. Samsung appears to be a bit more yellow. Interesting. Ooh, unless I've actually accidentally put it on one of those filters, because that happens occasionally. Let me see. Enhance effects. No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't have any one of those on. It should just be what it is. It'll be Samsung. It's just Samsung, guys. It's just what we've got going on with Samsung. There we go. That should fix that. Tan filter. Maybe. Maybe. Cheers, guys. No, it's we're working on Atlas here, and I always find he's depicted holding up that ball, always, cowering under it. I thought, what if we swapped it over today and we actually painted him from the front on? And so there is a slight insinuation that he's holding up something behind him, but it doesn't dominate his entire identity. I feel like a lot of the times when we show off Atlas, that holding up of the ball dominates his entire identity. And I prefer to show Atlas without the object he's holding up, to show his strain of the object, the effort that he's applying, but not to be dominated completely by the object. Does that make sense? Here we go. You'll have to excuse me if I don't do too much talking while we're here, because, like I said, I'm recovering from that flu bit by bit. Snake Ringer, welcome on in. Hello. Seb, help. Long time no see. Yeah, I get the help. I get the hello though. Hope you're doing well. What season are we in at the moment, Snake Ringer? Are we still in camp mode? Or are we through the other side now? Like I've said before, I used to have all those dates in my head locked in. But now, it's in one ear, out the other. Now, and go easy on me guys. If I'm talking a little bit slower today, it's because I'm trying to resist the urge to cough. We're still a little bit, I just spilled coffee down my front. Not as clever as I think I am. Fall here. No event. So event and wedding time. Yeah. Oh, that's a fall thing, of course, because the colours. Yes, indeed. And favourite colour? Favourite colour? Jeepers creepers. I'm going to pick one, because usually I use a bunch of gaslighting and, evasion techniques to avoid doing that. But I'm going to say, I don't think it's ultramarine blue anymore. I do love that colour, but peg me on a baby blue. Same as Snoop Dogg, I'll take that. Me and Snoop Dogg have our favourite colour in common. We just had a 5K this morning. Is it like a run? Or is that like a wedding with 5,000 people in attendance? That's huge. Sunny. I'm sorry. Wait. Unfollowed because my favourite colour is baby blue. It breaks my heart. Greek S was green. See, I've got a problem with green. I'm going to tell you why. I have this problem with green because when it comes to the colour green, especially in paintings as well, I always feel like the most beautiful green is in nature itself. And the idea is always to try and, capture the beauty in nature, but I feel like every time we use a single colour without the multitude of hues and tones that nature gets for green, paintings always kind of fall a little bit flat when trying to replicate it. We can capture something new in it with new colours and things, but yeah. So I always feel like green's best seen in nature, not worn and not painted. But that's just my personal philosophy. Some people find the paintings made of nature beautiful, but I always find the ones of sunny sunshine, listen in and you'll find out. I always find the paintings that try and capture something additional, like colours that wouldn't be so prominent, and they try and exacerbate them, or, what's the word, bring them out more, like we did with the Doubtful Sound piece. That's where the real value in nature can come out. But as far as green goes, I like to see green in nature, and you know what? Green probably is the best colour, but it's so hard to capture. It's kind of like a diamond. You know, if you think of like the light shimmering off the sea, in the same way, a diamond kind of reflects in the same way, but you can't bottle the sea and keep it. If you could, that would be a diamond. Now I'm waffling. Sunny sunshine. That was a waffle. Right, coming on down here. Yes, 5K. We had 35 people. That's exciting. 35 people on a 5K. Get it done. Did you win? Did you win? Is the question. 40 shades. It's more than that of green. But you can see the most shades of blue. Blue has the most shades out of all the colours. Out of all the colours, blue doesn't have the most in reality. I think the human eye can pick up on more blue shades than anything else. I think that's correct. Hey, Sunny Sunshine, we won you over. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here, you absolute champion. It's like, when you see Sunny Sunshine, unfollowed creator. The blue waters of French Polynesia. I'd have to agree with that too. They are startlingly gorgeous. Absolutely. When you go to one of those places on planet Earth where the water's literally so blue that it looks like a postcard before you've even taken a photo of it, that's one of the most beautiful things. I've always enjoyed that. Always. There we go. I also love it when you just go out into deep water. You know, when the water hue turns from being just a beautiful blue, deep blue colour, and it goes that kind of greenish, deeper greenish tone. There's something special about that. Or is that just me? Jesse. Seb, I haven't seen you in like a million years. I think it's been longer, actually. I'd say more like 50 million years. That's a fair bit of time. Jesse, are you meaning because you haven't been on in a few weeks, or are you meaning that you haven't seen me in the last 3 or 4 days? Because if you're noticing a little bit of a change in my voice and a slightly slower pace, more easygoing and relaxed, it's because I'm recovering from quite a nasty flu. Really slowed me down. So it's unintentional, but we're talking more like a Bob Ross with a bit of a sniffle. Sniffle Ross. Are you using acrylic? No. This is gouache paint. It's raw gouache, and the reason why I'm using gouache here is I wanted to get the strongest pigment load. So gouache has larger pigment particles. If you think of acrylics or oils, they're much smaller and finer, much more of a fine powder through the paint. But gouache is fatter, bigger and chunkier. And the reason why you'd want that is the bigger particles make the paint more opaque. So if you think of the shine that you get with acrylics and oils, which some people like, And don't get me wrong, nothing wrong with the shine. But if you want raw colour, you run into an issue when the surface gets too reflective because you don't actually see colour. You see the reflection of light, kind of like chrome. You know how chrome is just reflecting everything around it. So you can lose a bit of the essence of it. Whereas I like that kind of matting of colour, especially when it's so... Like, look at this. If I bring this up close here. Look at the power behind that colour. It's sort of hard to pick up on, but it's outrageously strong. Basically, the highest pigment load can come from using your own powders or splicing in gouache paint into regular paint. You love it. That's good. It's good. Oh no, I'm glad you're better. I haven't been here in a while. Raising a toddler is exhausting. Well, I've got a baby, not a toddler, but I hear I'm in for a show once the little taker reaches that age. So I'll let you know how I fare, but I can only imagine. It's the best thing you can do, but yes, tiring indeed. Tiring indeed. Let's get a bit more of this in here. Yeah. But having a newborn and being sick, jeepers creepers, really slapped me around a wee bit, Jesse. Anyway, like I was saying though, we are on the road to a full recovery. I reckon by tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'll be talking with a fast, high-pitched tone again. We'll charge off on the next art project and I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Screw off a little bit. Oh, get ready. It's tiring, but so worth it. Love that. This is Atlas. This is Atlas. So Atlas is one of the more renowned Greek giants. Not a god, a giant. And I think giants were kind of on the par of gods. So like they had a war between each other. And apparently it was close. But anyway, Stephen Fry writes some excellent books. Probably some of my favourite books of all time. Heroes and Mythos. And they're a great take on those old mythology stories. You'll fall in love with them. And explore. I do. But not here. Here, while we make the process, we just lose ourselves in that. But you're welcome to leap on the website though. And there's a few things up there at the moment. Not originals. They're currently, there's no originals currently listed. But you can always get in touch. You may have just the thing you're after. Who knows? I think the process of making art is so important to share though, because aside from buying anything, you can join the process here. Be a part of it here, live. Didn't the gods chain the giants? They did a few things to them. Atlas had to hold up the sky, or the universe, I forget which one. Big difference. Prometheus gave the humans fire. And after he did that, Zeus wasn't too happy. Some people think of fire as a literal fire, and sometimes fire is sort of more as the metaphor of the fire of invention, ideas, soul. He gave the humans life. They already had life, but actually gave them the ability to be independent. And Zeus didn't like that, though the children were kind of like his plaything. I think Prometheus made humans for Zeus. I forget. And to stop them from being his plaything, this made them more like a, I think, is it in the First Testament? Completely separate religion. Because they would become like us. think the idea that humans become more like gods. Not gods, but more like gods. And that was something that Zeus doesn't like. See, one thing that's true through all the stories, no matter what, you can always back the resoundingly obvious trend that Zeus, our old friend Zeus, does not like to give up power. And when Prometheus gave humans fire, Zeus opened that door. So when Prometheus gave humans the fire, that opened up the door. And Zeus did not like that. So to this day, throughout history, Prometheus is currently tied to a rock face. And you can see it in that new show, Chaos. Ooh, website. Yes. You're totally fine. In the link in the bio. I'm coming back in just a moment. Coming back. Woo, here we go. And like I said, guys, bear with me. So I am pretty cooked right now. Sick. Getting by. I'll look into it. Love your work. Hey, thank you very much, Explore. Have a look. And look, you can always contact me directly. Email's great. Or any social media. Also totally fine. And get in touch. Sorry, I just want to get this blue off the brush. The other thing you can do too, because I set up myself some reminders. If you say, hey, I like the works you do with landscapes, or that's quite a similar one. People say, when you get more landscapes, send them to me, you know. And what's really cool about that is, you know, that's not to say the next landscape they're like, yep, I'll take it. But it just keeps you in the loop that when there is an original, since you've been waiting, you can just actually just see it first before it goes live. Sometimes people swoop, and sometimes they're like, yeah, I like it, but it's not quite for me. And that's okay. You're allowed to actually not like it. You're allowed to have your own personal taste. But basically, if you let me know what that taste is when the right piece comes along, I'll send it to you first and you can have a look-see at it and tell me what you think. Alright, now on with the orange. Here we go. Question 2, guys, while I've got you here. As a captive audience. Do I sound sick? Do I sound perfectly healthy? Palettes. I feel like Zeus from a writer's point of view is always the centre of power. He was kind of his father. What was his father's name? I forget. Someone help me out here. Someone save me from my ignorance. Basically, Zeus plotted with his mother to overthrow his father. But ironically, Zeus became all the things, and they talk about it in Chaos. Zeus became all the things that they sought to avoid or didn't like their father for. So, the irony is, it's heavy. They do a great job, though, of showing Poseidon, I feel. Kronos, thank you very much. Joe and Heather. That's my ignorance there. Thank you very much. Kronos. And help me out here. Who's Kronos's, does Kronos have a father, doesn't he? Who's his father? Because Gaia comes in there somewhere, doesn't she? Yeah. If there was a, there probably is. I need to buy a family tree that'll head off on my wall so I can keep up with it. But honestly, guys, it's a fun story, and the fun thing about it is it goes deep. Like, it's the story that keeps on giving. You know when you read some books and it's over and there's no more stuff around it? Nah, it's more like a Lord of the Rings story where actually you can keep finding more and more lore, and so you're rewarded by loving the story more because you'll keep learning more. And that's pretty cool, if you ask me. Yeah, Uranus. Uranus to Kronos to Zeus. It's making sense now. I agree. Let's get a bit more of this colour in here. And Uranus was married to... Not married, but was with Gaia, right? Or am I imagining that? She was... Because Gaia teamed up with Zeus. Because Zeus was her daughter. To overthrow Kronos. Is that correct? Yeah, and Aphrodite's hanging around. Aphrodite was born from the sea foam later in the piece. I always know about her from the She's So High song from, what's his name? Ty Buchan. She's so high, high above me. She's so lovely. Ooh. And just bear with me while I conserve my voice a little bit. Guys, if you're just joining, I've been struggling with a bit of flu as of the last 5 days. Tried to do a few lives about 2 or 3 days ago, battled through it, and now I'm just on the sort of 60% recovered now. Gaia for Earth, perfect all about, and said this is perfect, Joe. Welcome on in. I hope your portrait's doing you some justice. That's very exciting. I like that you put up in a bunch of places too to try and see where it fits best. I love that portrait. That's a really, really, really fun one. Oh dear. Starting that one was super fun too, down at the beach. Had some music playing. Everything was just perfect for that portrait. I'll get in touch and we'll talk some more about it. They recently closed the art gallery in my city for renovations. It won't be finished for 2 to 3 years. Yeah. It's a shame it takes that long, but you've got to do what you've got to do, right? Can you rush these things, or can you let them just go their natural course, I suppose? Yeah. This area is beautiful, guys. There's lots of birds around here. This is the place for them. This is the place. Up here a little bit. Night, Seb. I've got to see you for a bit. Alright, Jesse. We'll catch you later. Thanks for joining on in. I might see you more in the future. Maybe. Maybe. Right. Now I've got these. These are quite unusual. These are gouache pastels. So it's solid gouache paint, which is effectively a regular pastel, with the one difference that it's got a huge pigment load. And one of the things I love most about painting, guys, is making sure my pigment load is through the roof. I don't like shallow pigments. I want to make sure those pigment particles are as juicy and as thick as possible. One of the things that Van Gogh was obsessed about was getting as much colour into his works as possible. And he knew way back when that paints would fade. And in a letter to his brother Theo, he actually wrote, all the more reason to put on the paint as thick as possible. And so part of the reason behind Van Gogh's slight impasto techniques was actually to try and add more paint to make sure they'd make sure they'd have their colour for longer. Oh, jeepers creepers, I can feel my throat giving out on me while I was trying to finish that one. Yeah, it's a fascinating story there, and if you get the chance to read through some of Van Gogh's letters, it's a really interesting experience, because it was via those letters to his brother Theo, exposed by his sister-in-law, that actually made Van Gogh famous. See, everyone forgets, everyone had seen Van Gogh's work and they didn't like it. But once they understood the man behind the work, once they understood what drove Van Gogh, what humanized him, suddenly they saw the work in a different light. They felt differently about it. And when they felt differently about it, they finally saw it for what it was. And now he's the greatest artist of all time. A lot of galleries, a lot of buyers saw Van Gogh's work before Van Gogh was Van Gogh, and they didn't want it. I'd love to see, we could never see it, but I'd love to see the pitch by Theo with works like Starry Starry Night or Potato Eaters, which is what Van Gogh thought was his masterpiece, trying to actually sell these things to collectors who are like, nah, no, I want this other one. And just hearing their candid thoughts, what they were saying about collectors who are like, nah, no, I want this other one. And just hearing their candid thoughts, what they were saying about makes you feel good. There's really no two ways about that. Don't worry, I have ASD, I struggle to speak all the time. Alright, well, we're in a similar boat here. Incredible picture, thank you so much, Alex Wright. Good for you. And, it's funny you say that. Looks like my torso. Maybe before I had a lovely little daughter in my life, but I'm doing my best. This is gonna be like body positive goals. Come on, baby, we'll get back to it. There we go. Just a little bit of these. It's funny actually. These work via friction. So they basically are like wax, and the moment you move it over the surface, what happens is they actually start to, because of the movement, heat up and then melt this waxy substance. And then once it's solid on the surface, it cools back down and goes hard. Quite a fun process, all things considered. All things considered. The only problem with them is they, in and of themselves, don't really allow detail. So while you're using it, you can place colour where you want it, but you can't add detail where you want it. So, with every medium, there's a pro and a con. That is just some juicy yellows. This work's just got that yellow vibe to it. Normally I wouldn't go that close to it with it. You know, normally I'd never use that much yellow, guys. You know that. But we're breaking new ground here today. I'm more of a blue and a pink guy, to be fair. Get into those vibrant yellows, and it's all colour of happiness. It's all a bit much, I find. So I try and use yellow with some more scarcity, but I kind of feel like Atlas is getting a lot out of yellow. So, for a period, I'm kind of throwing that rule in the bin for this piece. The last one we threw in the bin for was about 100 yards from here on the sunflower picture. That was pretty fun too. No, these are very, very rare actually, guys. These are solid gouache paint, so one of the highest pigment loads you can get in a stick. And basically it's waxy gouache. So since we're already using gouache paint on this work, these are a nice sort of combination. But like I say, they do not the combination. But like I say, they do not what I was thinking. I'll never know what I was thinking. Used to love oil pastels. Oil pastels are fun. Messy. You're a messy man. But fun. Fun indeed. In New Zealand, jeepers. We've just left winter. I think we're in... I forget where we're at. Fall or spring, I think. Oh. You have to excuse me, I'm a bit delirious right now. Battling with this flu. Winning, but battling. What season is it? Oh, that's the same one. Am I interested but influenced by Fauvism? I mean, by the fact that existed on planet Earth, then through some sort of butterfly effect, you'd have to say that I was. Do I go to sleep and think about it? Do I brush my teeth thinking of Fauvism? Probably not, to be honest. Probably not. But I'm excited it exists. I think we get very hung up on thinking artists have to be influenced by artists. A lot of my craft's been influenced by a bunch of special people in my life. And for example, the fact I paint on masonite boards actually came from a guy called Dale, who used to build my frames. And I used to shop with all sorts, canvases, just everything. And he said, Seb, the thing you actually want is masonite. And I said to him, Dale, what's masonite? And I already finished my university education and everything. He said, Dale, what's masonite? And I said, he said, Seb, he said use masonite. And I said, Dale, what's masonite? And he said, it's like MDF, but it's much better. I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, well, it's a darker shade and it has less glue in it. And this was the first time I'd ever heard about it. And then I started to use it, and suddenly, life-changing. It's stronger, it lasts longer, it's easier to paint on, it's better to paint on. It changed my life. I didn't need Futurism or French Impressionism to teach me that, even though these things are important. And then, when it came to loosening up, and actually being able to enjoy myself in front of a canvas. It was friends and loved ones who taught me that. That actually I didn't need to make it realism. That actually the responsibility of the work on any given day was to make the artist happy. Imagine you sold a piece of art for, just think tank this with me for a moment. Imagine you sold a piece of art for $3 million. Would you think to yourself, I've made $3 million, ha, I don't need to paint for 6 months, a year, ever again? Or would you think, fantastic, I've made $3 million. I can now do, like, paint just for me. I can have fun. That's the question. And so if the idea of having money or getting money for your art excites you because you can make more art, that's when you're in the right mind frame as an artist, because you're making money to make art. But when your psychology actually turns into the I want to make art to make money, it's not about the art you'd make then. It's about how it's going to break your soul a little bit. Beautiful art can be beautiful business, but it shouldn't. Art should never lead with business first. Art has to have a pure aspect to it, a pure soul-building aspect. And if it has that, then yeah, it's going to be popular. Everyone's going to want it. But until it actually exists purely of its own accord, purely to make you happy, purely because the joy of making it is such a pleasure that even if creating it costs you money, costs you time, costs you energy, costs you effort, you'd still do it because it's so much fun to do. Now the art is coming into the world under the right premise, and you'll get something special. Janice, welcome on in, Janice. Lovely to have you here. I would be pleasantly surprised by art. Probably. Here we go. That wasn't a bird, guys. That was a cow. Doing a good solid moo in the paddock there. Cows have just had all their little calves. If you're one of the subscribers, you may have seen all those little calves running around. Gorgeous little calves. So happy. It's been warm weather for them. A little bit of rain, so on one hand though, that helps the grass grow, so it is what it is. But they've been warm enough. They've had plenty of grass. Happy mums. It's just a great time to be a cow. Great time to be an artist too. Basically today, if you're a cow or an artist, you're in for a good time. I was about to say, it did not sound like a bird. No sir, it did not. You can still hear it going for it. It's they're just having a good time down there. You have to bear with me too, guys. I'm not that far off dashing inside and getting myself a hot drink. Try and get myself through the next 30 minutes. Looks amazing. Them blues make it pop. You like the blues, Janice? Well, thanks, Janice. I actually, that's funny you say that, because we added a few blues today. And I was like, are they going to go well with the purples? But in all honesty, we kind of want the purples to fall back and chill out. And the blues and the yellows, it's kind of more earthy. Thank you, cows. Kind of more earthy. In a good way. There we go. We can go through there. Beautiful. beautiful. So this is thick. Problem with these things though, the problem with them, they're just so downright expensive. You know, we're almost through our white one, and they cost like $10 each. So, on one hand, beautiful, but on the other hand, expensive, harder to play. You need a medium. Of course, archival and making sure it lasts is really important, but you actually need a medium that allows you to actually fail. That like encourages play. If you can't play with it, then you'll never actually find out the full capacity of what it can do. And if it's expensive, some of the time that restricts how much you're willing to play. If it restricts it, it's like the self-limiting, self-fulfilling property. Acrylic can be tough too. Acrylic can be expensive to do properly. Egg tempera takes a lot of prep. But of course, you can just avoid the prep with egg tempera. Just paint with it. And then the results will inevitably not be archival, but you can just have that fun. So that's okay if you schedule your fun. Now, I'm not fully sure here, but I'm going to take a random guess. I reckon, Alex, love having your hair. Love you having your hair to bits. But we're going to put you on ice just for this live. You can come in next time. Which part of Australia are you from? Love you. Love you right back. We are currently in New Zealand. This is the Bay of Plenty. So we're at about 5:20 here in the Bay of Plenty. And we're painting Atlas, who is a dude who actually, sadly enough, still holding up the sky. Wild. Truly wild. And hey, Charlie. Alright. Let me just refill this gorgeous little cup, and I'll be right on back to hanging out with you guys. Let me just see as well. One thing I really like about this is I can flick it over there and then have a look at it from your angle. So, because at this, like here, I can see exactly what you guys see. I think, I like it. I like it. You can kind of see his forearm on this hand here coming forward further. And I like the fact that his forearms and pelvis are much bigger, and his face and chest, which would normally be quite gigantuan for a man of his stature, giant of his stature, actually fall back in the space of it. Really, really fun. Really fun piece. Right. I'm going to get another hot drink to save my voice and come on back. But, in all honesty, every time you see a torso shot like this, and this just, I'll tell you, it's always just pecs and abs, just bang, in that triangle, whenever you see Greek mythology men. This here's tried to change that and bring more attention to the pelvis and arms, and push the chest right back. But normally when you push the chest back, the man suddenly looks scrawny. We've kind of avoided that here. It's really nice. Anyway, doesn't look scrawny, but his pecs are literally smaller than his chin. Wild. Anyway, I'm coming back. Back we come, back we come, back we come. Do 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 do. G'day, guys. We've decided to go for some bubbly water. And Hector, welcome to the team, Hector. Absolutely lovely to have you here. You, sir, are an absolute champion. I am SoFi 420. There's no one posing for it. Although you could say that being Atlas, holding up the sky, that everywhere you are outside, Atlas is posing for it metaphorically. So, we're currently surrounded by Atlas holding up the sky. Thanks, Atlas. Appreciate your hard work. Right. Let's give this plate a little rinse off. And the question is, what do we want the next colour to be? What would suit this picture best? There's room for something in between. Something that more matches the tone of a mid-grey. Here we go. Raw sienna. This will be the trick. And guys, I know I'm here with a nasty bit of flu, but what's really exciting, even though I'm on the tail end of it now, if you're wondering why I'm speaking slow, that's why. We are, not a word of a lie, we are 2 subscribers off reaching our goal. 51 legends. So, if you're sitting there on the fence and you'd like to join, I'd love to have you. But if you're enjoying just hanging out here with me, that's also phenomenal. And I appreciate you lots. Now, this is the colour we're working with. This sort of, it's kind of like a deep mustard yellow. And it's the kind of colour that when you look at it, you're like, there is nowhere that I want that colour to go. But when a painting doesn't have it, it stands out. Kind of like Sadness in Inside Out, actually. Who's seen that movie? That's what this colour is. You feel like you don't want it, but when you don't have it, everything sort of falls to bits. There we go. That's the noises a cow makes. Enjoy. God, it feels nice to do a pause every now and again. I just feel my voice gently recovering. Oh, I am humbled that you decided to paint me. James, you're more than welcome. I'm glad we could. I'm glad you like it. Everyone, this isn't Atlas. This isn't the giant from Greek mythology who holds up the stars for us. This is James. James, from a land known as TikTok. Um, JB, you've lost me. I'm glad we made the decision to actually come out with some sparkling water over the hot drink. This is typical. Oh, yeah, gotcha. I gotcha, JB. I've actually had a flu these last 5 to 7 days, and I'm on the road to recovery. Road to recovery. So, I'm saying I'm 60% of the way there. You know when you get over that hump? And when you get over the hump, you start feeling quasi-invincible. Because you're like, yeah, I'm through the hardest bit of this now. It only gets better from here. And sometimes you push it too far and get sick again. I'm at that phase. But I thought, I'm going to come out here and do a bit of painting. And I thought, this is a fun one to touch up on. Play with. It's not there yet, but it's in a fun spot. And I like the way it has this kind of abstract, nonsensical manner to it. But it is this sort of formal shot of a body. I might chuck a little bit. Red through there. Janice! Thanks for joining in, Janice. And sorry if today's pace was a little bit on the slow side. But you wait. Tomorrow, Janice, I'm going to be on fire. I'm going to have a full tank of gas. You're going to be like, wow, where did you get all that energy from? It's coming. It's coming. It's not today, but it's coming. Man, I tell you what, those last few days, they've been strong. Here we go. That's what I'm after. Nothing feels better when you've got a little bit of a flu And when you have some sparkling water like this, and when you get the burp coming back up, you let it out your nostrils. Oh my god. It is just unbelievably good, team. The greatest. Gems. We're sitting on 5:30 here in New Zealand at the moment. And no worries, Zip, hope you feel better soon. Thank you very much. And hello, hope you're having a great day. Thanks, Jesus. One more there. Sibby. David. Welcome into the stream, David. Right, exciting. Let's put that one down. And let's get quite a frisky colour. This is quite out the gate. Pink, baby. Let's do some pink. And hello, LJ. Welcome on in. Spicy. Jesus. It's me from the other streams with a bunch of questions. Love that. Ask away. But go easy on me when I answer slow, because I'm a little bit recovering from a flu right now. So if my answers are delayed, sluggish, confused, basically I'm saying disclaimer. You'd be like, he was so much better at answering my questions the other day. Well, the other day I might not have been sick. I still back myself to give them good answers. Cheers, guys. Thanks, LJ. No, this is so this is Atlas. Atlas is a very important character from Greek mythology. He holds up a lot, and Hercules actually ran into him at one point. They had a little bit of a run-in. Hercules needed to fetch a fruit that he was unable to reach, but Atlas could reach it. So Hercules went and hung out with Atlas, and Atlas said, "Alright, I'll go get it, but you have to hold up the sky while I'm gone." Gouache pastels, similar. So this is gouache pastel and gouache paint. But even if it wasn't both gouache, totally fine. The risk you run when you mix different mediums is they have different drying times. And so those different drying times can cause them to contract and dry at different rates. As well as things like acrylics are designed to adhere really well to, say, gesso with tooth. But if you have egg tempera on top of acrylic, egg tempera is designed for a surface that's much more absorbent and not so grippy like a rock climber needs, but just absorbent like a sponge needs. So you have to be careful what you mix with what. Now, what you will get from these gouache markers is kind of waxy substance added into your painting, which is okay. But in this case here, gouache pastels with gouache paint, you're really not breaking any rules for how archival a painting would be. It's totally fine. I got tagged in a thing from one of my fans the other day, and it was this lady doing this painting, and it's like how artists paint. It's like, and like these really expressive, emotional paint strokes they're adding, and I'm like, that is how a lot of artists paint. I think, well, that's very similar to what I do. There's a difference between, like, I don't know, I feel like there's less heroism in art. I don't think the artist needs to be the hero. I think that's what we paint them as, especially in Western painting and art. I think the artist is just someone who's good at sharing their feelings, and everyone has feelings. My big thing is I start having a really, really good time, and that's where all the behaviour comes from. And honestly, if you're going to make art, especially full time, you've got to have fun while you do it. You've got to have a good time. Otherwise, what you sought after, I mean, sometimes the biggest, worst thing that happens to artists when they become full-time artists is they forget what was fun about it. If you forget that, that's the worst. Any job's better than an artist who forgot how to have fun. You're pretending to install emotion in your work. God, it's just a cold, miserable existence. Nothing drains me more than making a painting that feels empty. It's just, guys, gotta make what you're passionate about. And protect your energy, protect your vibe. Sounds so cheesy to say it, but that's what the kids are saying these days. Protect your energy, protect your vibe. Because as an artist, you're working with feelings, and with those emotions, you're working with a finite amount of energy. A finite amount. If you're working with a finite amount, you gotta be very careful where you place it. And I used to put a lot of energy into critical feedback. A lot of energy into that. So like, when negative comments would appear on videos, I would just gravitate towards them. And it would really affect my art. Because even if I thought, oh, he's talking nonsense, what would happen? I'd inevitably, on the next piece, try and make it to avoid that comment coming in. Really dangerous, guys, because the comment sometimes isn't actually what you need to be focusing on, but it can suddenly start controlling you. Sometimes you need to hear it, because sometimes it's helpful. Sometimes it's helpful. And you kind of like anxiety at inside out too. You think you're helping, but you're not helping. And so actually what I do now is I go through I try and spend a session, every now and again where I answer all the comments I can on social media instead of going in and constantly letting it be something you're reading non-stop. Because it's great to have it there, but if you're not careful, comments and feedback can start controlling what you think is worth doing, and you need to have more control over your craft than that. You need to understand the direction you want to take it and how you're going to take it in that direction. Again, very cheesy stuff. Hey, Seb, feeling under the weather? Yeah, Ray. Don't make me laugh, Ray. Don't make me laugh. We were doing so well. Excuse me. I'm back. Whew, crying a little bit, but I'm back. Thanks for persevering with me, guys. About 60% better. What have we got there? A lozenge, that'll be nice. Whoo-wee. So, that was a great ab workout though. Great for my core. So, I'm about 60% better. We're almost at full steam, but that's why I disappeared these last... I've been drinking lots of fluids. That's why I disappeared these last 4 or 5 days, just on that road to recovery. Honestly, these last 2 days, I wouldn't have been able to speak. Would have been out the gate. But it's excellent now, though. As long as we don't laugh, we're golden, which is really hard for me. Really hard. Didn't think it was going to go that poorly, to be honest, but it did. And sorry, before I dashed off, let me come up a wee bit. MC, welcome to the team, you absolute legend. Seb's here, hunched over some artwork, chewing on a lozenge, being like, trust me, sometimes we've got more energy and the art gets really good. We'll be back at full steam before you know it. Wolf! Welcome on in, Wolf. And we just hit the subscription goal, team. You absolute pack of legends. You've made my day. I was going to come out here and hang out with you guys and try and make it through a 90-minute set and do my just very best, but we hit the subscription goal while we're hanging out, so that's primo, guys. I'll get sick more often. That seems to work. Don't laugh. No laughing. Okay. Get back to painting. So, these are a little bit different from oil pastels. And what's really different about them is their pigment load is higher. So, whereas oil pastels will glisten more, these will have more of a matte effect. And the reason they have a matte effect, if you've heard me say it before, I'll say it again. This here is a regular particle. Voila. This here is a regular pigment powder particle in oil or acrylic. This here is gouache. They're bigger particles. What happens when the particles are bigger? They don't let light pass through, or no, sorry, they don't let light reflect back as easily. They absorb more of it. So you don't get this surface with shine. You just get bold, thick colour. And I like it because when you see a blue colour, rather than half of it being reflection from the outside world, it's just raw, powerful, suck you in blue. And I love that. That's what I live for. Some people don't like that though. I remember when I was younger, I always used to love gloss and satin, still do. But I'm starting to fall for matte more, and the reason matte gets a bad reputation is because usually when we see matte, it's in a photography studio or it's in like a cheap printing outlet, and they're asking you if you want matte or satin or gloss. The matte always feels kind of like meh. That's all different though when matte is very, very pigmented. Very few of us have actually had an experience where we get to see the matte with extremely, and I mean not just little bit, but extremely strong pigment. It's very different, guys. Really different. It's one of those things that I didn't realise I liked until I started being in the presence of it. I started thinking, more of that, please. So, now I'm a matte guy. Question. That's the Westpac helicopter, so that means someone's not having a whole lot of fun. So blessings to them, but does gouache always come in stick applications? No. You know, gouache usually comes in a tube like this. This is a little tube of gouache. See that? Little baby tube. These tubes are 14 mils each. Now these sticks are very rare because not only are pastels usually rare, but having gouache in solid paint form, it's kind of like, if you imagine, because you can get oils in stick form as well. It's like that, but 5 times rarer. And part of that rarity in them makes them quite hard to source and quite expensive, so they're not my usual go-to team, if I'm being fully honest, but we're playing with them here because I've got them. And one of the things I'm really big on, guys, is trialing everything. Do everything. So when I tell you that we do this for this reason, you can actually have a little bit of faith that I might have that in my own world, I'll know what I'm talking about, if that makes sense. Rather than saying, oh, use acrylics or oil, do it because it's the best and everyone says it's the best. That's yuck advice. If anyone gives you that advice, be very careful. This is Atlas, and welcome on in. I can't pronounce that name, but you're an absolute legend. Welcome on in. Typically though, guys, there's a saying, I don't know who said it, but maybe I'm about to say it, but there's literally an artist in everyone. You just need to find your medium. And you're like, oh, that's so cheesy. It's not actually how it works. It actually is, because I was doing art when I was younger a lot. And although they were beautiful pieces, there was really nothing unique or special about my art. But I was using the wrong mediums. Or using those mediums in the wrong way. And actually my technical ability hasn't really changed a whole lot. Like, not by orders of magnitude since university. And so actually university wasn't a matter of me learning how to do nude figurative works and giant gradients and things like this. It was a matter of me learning how to find myself in different mediums. I never really looked at it through that lens before. Anyway, right team. That's our last colour there. Hey Melissa, welcome on in. Guys, I'm going to get cleaned up and then get this one sitting for a little bit. There's a bit more detail to add into this one, I feel. But I'm liking where it's at. It's kind of like a lolly scramble, but it makes a body. It's really interesting. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for persevering with my slower conversation this time around. Sorry about the coughing fit earlier. I'll be better tomorrow as well. But we are on the heel now. Like I say, we're 60% of the way there. So tomorrow, I reckon about 80. Day after that, 100. But we'll be back tomorrow to do some more. Until then, I'm going to finish off this lozenge. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you're going to have an amazing day or an incredible night. Cheers, guys. Elizabeth, I appreciate that. And I absolutely will. 100%. Alright, guys. Catch you later. Bye now.